Welcome to Module 7. This module covers topics related to the Career Development and Job Placement Knowledge Domain, which encompasses 9.3% of the questions on the CRC exam. The information in this module is organized into two lessons. 1. Career Development Theories and Transition Strategies, and 2. Employer Development and Employee Placement. The CRC exam includes two major sections, Rehabilitation and Disability, and Counseling. For the Rehabilitation and Disability section, by the completion of this model, students will be able to describe, recognize, and implement strategies for career development and job placement, summarize the needs specialized populations have in terms of job development and placement, recognize and implement techniques to help develop and retain relationships with employers who facilitate job development and placement, summarize, identify, and demonstrate evidence-based employment models and services that help individuals with significant disabilities and/or barriers be competitive for employment, recognize and identify the needs of individuals with dual diagnosis in the workplace in order to implement appropriate strategies. For the counseling section, you will be able to describe, recognize, and use job readiness, seeking, and retention skills. The learning objectives and topics covered were generated based on information provided on the CRCC website. Module 7.1, Career Development Theories and Transition Strategies. Topics covered in this review are career development and job placement theories. Career development and job placement theories. As a rehabilitation counselor, you may need to help your clients prepare and thrive in the workplace. As means of support, you may find yourself helping clients find job positions using resources like the Occupation Information Network, ONET, build the skills and abilities necessary for jobs, and apply for positions, such as preparing resumes, cover letters, and other application materials. The Employment Inventory, or EI, is an assessment that rehabilitation counselors can use to evaluate the skills and abilities of a client in order to match them with positions that best fit their skills and abilities. This assessment is composed of a series of questions that focus on an individual's attitude, dependability, motivation, problem-solving skills, as well as other important job-related skills. The following are several career development and job placement models that explain how a client interacts with and adjusts to the work environment. Having a sense of these models will help you prepare your clients for the workplace. Holland's theory of vocational choice describes that individuals of a specific personality type will be best suited for specific job positions. There are 6 categories of individual personality types described in Holland's model, also known as RIASEC, R-I-A-S-E-C. R is for realistic. These individuals prefer to work with concrete objects such as construction or building, mechanical activities, or working with their hands. I is for investigative. These individuals prefer to engage in problem-solving or analytic activities such as the sciences or math. A is for artistic. These individuals prefer positions that engage in creative and expression skills. S is for social. These individuals prefer to engage their social communication and teamwork skills. E is for enterprising. These individuals prefer jobs that allow them to exhibit sales skills or influence others. C, conventional. These individuals prefer job tasks that are highly defined or organized, such as data management. An individual can exhibit more than one of the personality types listed. The income framework. This was developed by Beveridge and colleagues and includes 6 statuses and individual experiences as part of the job planning, selection, and adjustment process. I, imagining status. The individual is informed of positions that align well with their skills or abilities. N, for informing status. The individual reflects on their individual abilities and skills to help inform career selection. C is the choosing status. The individual uses their knowledge of careers and the reflection process to choose a career that is right for them. O, obtaining status. The individual prepares, applies for positions, and engages in the search process. M, maintaining status. The individual learns to adjust to the new working circumstances and maintains or grows in terms of their career progress. And E, exiting status. The individual considers or actually chooses to leave their current position. The Minnesota theory of work adjustment. The MTWA, which was developed in the 1960s, was the first career development theory that was created for individuals with disabilities. According to this theory, there are three aspects: job satisfaction, which is the employee's satisfaction with the characteristics of the job, pay, environment, tasks, etc. Job satisfactoriness, the employer's satisfaction with the employee, and job tenure, the length of time employee holds a specific job. Job satisfaction and satisfactoriness will influence an employee's job tenure. Further, MTWA suggests that abilities and skills of the individual with a disability be assessed to help the individual match with a potentially successful position. After the abilities and skills of the individual are assessed, the next step is to evaluate how the specific environment may influence the employee. The Minnesota Importance Questionnaire, MIQ, was created in order to evaluate how the environment influences the employee, where this evaluation helps the individual find a workplace that helps them grow. In reality, a counselor can use a variety of assessment tools that measure a variety of different constructs, such as the Minnesota job description, characteristics of a workplace environment that allow for growth in an individual, or the General Aptitude Test Battery, the GAPB, which measures patterns in work-related aptitude. The Person-Environment Interaction Theory was first developed by Parsons in 1909. At its foundation, person-environment interaction theory assumes that some skills or traits are natural for specific individuals. Jobs need specific skills and traits, and therefore it should be possible to match individuals with jobs that align well with their skills and traits. As part of this model, it is important for the individual with a disability to have a strong understanding of their own skills and abilities, so it is encouraged that the employment seeker be assessed for a variety of job-related skills. Additionally, person-environment interaction theory posits that the employee seeks out and interacts with specific environments, which means the work environment may also influence the employee. Therefore, it is also important to assess the job environment to identify if the position and workplace will positively benefit the job seeker. Social Cognitive Career Theory, Lent in 1996, first developed Social Cognitive Career Theory, or SCCT. It is built based on Bandura's Social Cognitive Theory, SCT, but SCCT expands to career development by explaining how individuals acquire interest in a career, develop necessary career skills and abilities, and maintain or grow in their employment. SCCT explains that an individual's self-efficacy will influence their outcome expectations. A rehabilitation counselor can support an individual by helping them believe they can accomplish their career goals and identify realistic expectations. The social learning theory is an application of Bandura's social learning theory. As part of this theory, there are 4 components that influence how an individual makes decisions related to their careers. 1. Genetic endowment and special attributes. 2. Environmental conditions and events. 3. Learning experiences. And 4. Task approach skills. And this was developed by Crumboltz. Super's lifespan theory. Super describes career development as related to an individual's life roles and life stages. Super describes that individuals interact with their work differently depending on their life stage, and that life stages are dependent on age. Growth is birth to 14, exploration is 15 to 24, establishment is 25 to 44, maintenance 45 to 64, and decline 65 plus. Super's lifespan theory also includes 6 specific life roles: 1. Child, 2. Student, 3. Leisurite, 4. Citizen, 5. Worker, and 6. Homemaker or parent. Each of these roles influences how an individual may interact with their work environment. Dual diagnosis and the workplace. Individuals with psychiatric disabilities or serious mental illness, like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, etc., require special concern because the stress that is imposed by some job-related tasks may cause significant distress for these individuals. A job analysis is a tool that allows counselors to identify abilities and skills of individuals with psychiatric disabilities, which allows the client to understand their strengths and how these could apply to the workplace. Individuals with psychiatric disabilities can receive various forms of employment, including standard employment, which is typical career employment for the larger population. Sheltered employment. The employment training is overseen by a knowledgeable professional, often in a segregated setting only with others with disabilities and often paid sub-minimum wage. Supported employment. Services are provided to help the client adjust, maintain, and grow in an integrated employment setting in the community. And transitional employment. Practice circumstances that allow the client to use skills they will need in the future. The 5th edition of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, or the DSM-5, can be used by rehabilitation counselors to assess psychiatric and mental health issues in clients. Using the DSM-5 for evaluation purposes can help the counselor better understand the treatment and support schedule necessary for the specific individual. Transitioning from school to work. Rehabilitation counselors can provide services to help youth transition from high school to professional activities, where services may include helping the client live independently, engage with the community, and participate in additional work-related training. A review by Mazzotti and colleagues in 2021 provides additional evidence for several factors that contribute to school and post-school success: career education, career and technical education, exit exam or high school diploma status, goal setting, inclusion in general education, paid employment work experience, parent expectations, program of study, self-care and independent living skills, self-determination and self-advocacy, social skills, student support, transition program, work study, and youth autonomy and decision-making. The Individuals with Disabilities Education Improvement Act, IDEIA, requires transition teams to engage in planning and services that support individuals with disabilities as they navigate employment, post-high school education opportunities, or living independently. The Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, WIOA, of 2014 mandates that vocational rehabilitation agencies save 15% of their federal monetary spending to provide pre-employment planning and transition services to youth. Rehabilitation counselors can help youth transition to the post-high school environment by helping them create sensible goals, prepare job application materials, and learn strategies to successfully navigate the job search process. Continued support from the rehabilitation counselor, as well as family and friends, is the best way to help youth navigate the school-to-work transition. Work hardening. Work hardening, sometimes used interchangeably with work conditioning, is a structured program to help clients safely return to work after an injury. The goal of work hardening programs are to help clients regain the functional abilities necessary to return to work, prevent further injury, manage pain, and view themselves as productive employees. A team of professionals may create a work hardening treatment plan, which may include physical, occupational, and/or VR therapy. The team of professionals may engage the client in exercises, strength training, job task training, or mental health rehabilitation. Clients who participate in work hardening programs may also find work transition programs valuable, so they can practice engaging in their regular work responsibilities while engaging in work hardening. Module 7.2, Employer Development and Employee Placement. Topics covered in this review are working with employers, working with clients with disabilities, and employment support services. Working with employers. Employer development is the process in which a rehabilitation counselor works in collaboration with an employer to help them hire an individual, even if a position is not currently open. During this process, the rehabilitation counselor guides the employer to understand the skills and abilities of the potential employee to help them recognize how these may align with a position in their unit. By working directly with a rehabilitation counselor, the employer may have first access to a trained and skilled labor, i.e., reduces competition, without paying additional recruiting costs. In order to engage in employer development, a rehabilitation counselor should engage in conversation with the employer and potential employee to receive as much information as possible about the skills the employee has and the skills the employer needs. Engaging in employer development requires that the rehabilitation counselor develop a relationship with both the employee and employer to help them identify a successful match. This process is not always successful, but when it is usually the result of 1, an alignment in employee skills and employer needs, and 2, how common the employee skills are in society. Working with clients with disabilities. Supported employment model. Supported employment, or SE, is a model that provides a framework of support for individuals with significant disabilities, one for whom competitive employment has not traditionally occurred, or two for whom competitive employment has been interrupted or intermittent as a result of significant disability and because the severity of their disability requires ongoing support services. SE may also benefit transitional employment for individuals with the most severe mental illness. In a supported employment environment, the individual with the disability is trained while on the job site, which means that they only perform the tasks they are currently able to perform until they have learned the skills to complete more tasks. In order for a client to successfully learn the skills on the job, the rehabilitation counselor will need to work closely with the client, i.e. the employee, the employer, and any relevant outside entities. In an extended supported employment, an employee may only complete some of the tasks otherwise required of the position because they are not capable of completing all of the tasks. Extended SEs also require long-term support, guidance, and assessment. Individual Placement and Support, IPS, is a common model that exists within an SE environment. The purpose of the Individual Placement and Support, or IPS model, is to help individuals with severe mental health and/or addiction find job-related positions and maintain positive growth. As a part of this model, the rehabilitation counselor helps the client apply for employment that is of interest to the client and at the same pay as a non-disabled individual. Next, the rehabilitation counselor goes on site to the work environment in order to evaluate the skills needed by the employer as part of the job development process. The rehabilitation counselor should encourage and assist the client in obtaining mental health or other specialized forms of support as necessary for the client. The IPS model may include working with an employer as part of the employer development process to create a position for the employee that was not currently available. Social media as a networking tool. Social media can be a powerful tool for helping clients network and find job-related opportunities. However, it requires that rehabilitation counselors use social media intelligently and teach their clients how to do the same. First, it is important to distinguish the difference between personal, e.g. Twitter, and professional, e.g. LinkedIn, social media sites. There are also some personal social media sites, e.g. Facebook, that may include both personal and professional opportunities. As a result, it is important to teach the client to distinguish the personal and professional realms because it can be unprofessional to contact an employer on a personal site about a professional issue. Furthermore, it is important to keep professional sites organized, up-to-date, and businesslike. Rehabilitation counselors should engage in conversations on open forums and learn about the fields that may interest their clients, but it is important to remember that information posted on the web is permanent and can be widely shared. It is also important to remember that rehabilitation counselors are bound by HIPAA regulations, which means that privileged information should not be shared on social media. Employment Support Services. Employment support services are supportive programs that help individuals who are unable to perform the tasks necessary to find job positions or maintain those positions. Employment support services are often offered by federal, state, nonprofit, and for-profit agencies. These programs and eligibility criteria often vary widely across programs. The most common eligibility criteria are based on severe functional limitations, severe mental limitations, and/or the ability to afford the cost associated with finding or maintaining employment. Employment support programs often provide services before a client finds employment as well as after the client engages in the position. Prior to employment, the client will need to be 1. Assessed for their skills and abilities, 2. Supported in their search for competitive employment, and 3. Supported in the development of job application documents. Once the client obtains employment, they will need varying degrees of support depending on their circumstances. The client may receive coaching to help them adjust to the transition or receive support to help them maintain and progress within the environment. The Social Security Administration offers 2 commonly used employment services known as Plan to Achieve Self-Support and Ticket to Work program. Plan to Achieve Self-Support, or PASS. The purpose of this program is to support individuals as they save money for education and training that may support their future employment goals. Ticket to Work program. The purpose of this program is to support individuals obtain employment-related services from agencies beyond the Social Security Administration. As part of this program, individuals will receive support from any employment-related service, federal, state, or private, that will accept the ticket to work and is intended to help support the individual's employment goals.